kid back in the 80s, I was spending the night at my aunt and uncle's house, which was out in the sticks in Tennessee. I was sleeping on the couch and woke up due to a bright light coming through the kitchen window and into the living room. I was looking towards the light, which was white and slightly flickering. After about 10 minutes, I turned my head as it was now keeping me awake. After a few minutes, I turned my head back towards the light and was about to go to sleep on the love seat when I see a tall, dark figure standing between myself and the light. I was frozen and could not move or scream. It approached me, reached out, and began tapping on my forehead with what felt like a nail or something. This went on another few minutes until I must have fallen or was put to sleep. I woke up the next morning to a quiet house. I go into the bathroom and I have a red spot on my forehead, and the skin was slightly broken, but no blood. When I was about 12, my best friends and I used to sleep out on my friend's trampoline in his yard in the summer. We would gather our bed stuff and bounce around till we got tired, then eventually lay down and go to sleep. One evening, 4 of us were laying on the trampoline talking when we noticed that there's something floating over the woods nearby. You couldn't see it directly, just that it blocked the stars out as it slowly moved. It was just a little higher than the tree tip tops and completely silent. We were just some dumb kids, so we just watched it. Slowly, it drifted until it was directly over the top of us. Then suddenly, there was this light that I cannot describe. It was more than blindingly bright. It was disorientingly, cripplingly bright, like it shone down into you. The next thing I remember, we were all standing inside my friend's house, looking out his sliding glass black door window at the object still hovering there, and then it glided away. We were all spooked, but we decided to go back out to go to bed on the trampoline. We're laying there for a while, and the next thing we know, it comes back again and does the exact same thing. Again, we find ourselves inside, looking out the back door. Beyond all reason, we go back outside to bed again. Same thing happens again. We finally decided to sleep inside with the lights on. My friends and I lost touch as we grew up, but when I was 18, I heard one of them was in town. I ran into him at a party one night and pulled him to the side to ask him about that night, as it had bothered me for some time. His response has shaken me to this day. I cannot describe his reaction sufficiently. He looked at the ground and said, "I don't want to talk about it." I was kind of shocked by his response, so I didn't know what to say. He got up and walked out, and I stayed sitting there, thinking about what just happened. I got up after a minute to go see if I could find him, but he'd left immediately after. That was it. I haven't seen him or the others, but his response was enough to let me know something strange definitely went down that night. I don't know if I even want to remember. Back in 2005, I spent the night at a friend's house in New Mexico. They had a large ranch-like property, and what I loved about it most was the great view of the night sky you could get. I was always big on space and astronomy. I know, ironic considering this story. Well, me and my friend, who we will call Adam, sat under the stars listening to the peaceful night ambience as well as exchanging ghost stories. When suddenly, and out of nowhere, a bright light descended and hovered over Adam's house. Instinctively, I pulled out my phone to record it and got several minutes of footage. Adam let out a scream in terror as the lights then dissipated and took off into the sky with a giant pulsing sound. Adam's parents came running outside asking us what had happened. When I showed them the video, it was then Adam's father began detailing to us how this had been ongoing and how he would have to make a call. This call wound up being serious, I imagine, as not even 10 minutes later, out stepped these men in black. They began scouring the property and approached Adam and I. This big black guy took our statements and then informed us of the need to keep this private, as we wouldn't want to see him again. I brushed this off until he held out his hand. I stood there dumbfounded until I seen where his eyes were gazing at, my cell phone. I handed it to him, and he deleted the video and checked to make sure that I hadn't posted it anywhere, I guess. He gave the phone back to me and wished us a pleasant evening. I know what you're thinking. This story sounds utterly ridiculous, and looking back, I still have a hard time believing it myself. What do you think that thing was, though? Did we really see a UFO?